Hey guys, so what am I working on now? Well, I got this Dodge truck that's getting towed into me, right here. And the customer's complaint is, turn the key, nothing happens. Supposedly somebody already tried putting a battery in it, somebody put an ignition switch in it. It was at 2 different shops. So I have no idea what's going on with it. All I know is it doesn't start. So I don't know if it doesn't crank. I don't know if it's electrically dead. I'm thinking it's electrically dead since somebody put a battery in it and somebody put a ignition switch in it. So I guess we're going to find out once it gets off that tow truck. So I'm inside the truck now, and right off the bat, there's a relay box sitting here. It's an empty box, but it's a Napa part number, and the Napa part number is for a starter relay for this truck. It's an 06 Ram 1500. The other thing I noticed is this. It says somebody supposedly put an ignition switch in it, and there's a problem there too with whatever somebody did. The key is tagged. I won't show you the other side of it, but it's tagged from another shop. And then there's a bag here too, and in the bag there's a momentary interrupter switch. There's a fused wire. Whoops. Sorry about that. See that? That's like a push to start. You know, in case you had like on a lot of the older vehicles when the ignition switches used to die out, people used to put these in place, and this way you'd have a push start. You know, unlike the new cars. But check this out. Oh, and on the tag it says towed in starting problems. But so now I turn the key to run. Notice the prindle? That's usually a communication issue. So I got to figure that out. The prindle's not supposed to be lit up like that. It's only supposed to have the P that's lit up because it's in park. But when I go to take the key out of ignition, it's not coming out. It's not clocked correctly. So I'm sorry about the steering wheel thing, but yeah, it's not clocked correctly. Number one, something don't feel right. So I'm gonna have to take this apart anyway. At least it's halfway there to taking it apart. But I gotta go get my scanner because I gotta figure out that with the prindle. See what's going on there. Actually, I'm gonna open up the hood first. So we got ourselves a 3.7. We also have a new battery, or a relatively new battery. New battery terminal end. I like this. Although, I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that. It does work, but I would have used this style tin strap and then mounted that cable to it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a communication issue. Let me go get my scanner. Got my scanner hooked up. I'm loading it in now. Let's see if it'll identify it. That's an important first step. This should automatically identify it. Okay, it actually did. Let me just make sure of something here. 159044. 159044. Okay. Make sure I'm not dealing with something stupid. The mileage reads correct too. Code scan. Let's do a code scan and see what we got. Engine 0 codes. Awesome. Transmission battery was disconnected. ABS. Let it load up there. Let me pause this while it's loading up. So there, the code scan is complete. Battery is disconnected. Tranny range sensor rationality. Okay. Lost communication with HVAC. Lost communication. Let's see. Starter control circuit over current. Well, HVAC and radio I'm not too concerned about because it's got an aftermarket radio in it. That could have something to do with it. Ignition switch sense. Store, lost communication with radio. I'm not concerned. Alright, so there's really nothing there. I'm going to clear all the codes. And then once this is done clearing the codes, I'm going to do a code scan again. I'm going to cycle the key, do it all over again. I want to see if anything comes up. Come on. See, it doesn't know what modules it has, so it does have to go through all of this to figure out and then clear. You know, it looks for it. If it doesn't see it, then it's done. Okay. So now let's do a code scan again. I'm not going to have you sit through this whole thing. And there we go. It cleared. Now, okay, we're not worried about the radio because it's got an aftermarket radio. That's really the only code. And if you look now, see the Prindle? The Prindle looks normal. It's only flashing because that's the way it comes through on the video. So, okay, let's back out of this. We're going to go to engine. But first, just out of curiosity. Okay, so the problem is with the range sensor. But now what's the actual problem? What is the actual problem? I'm gonna have to, let me look into this. Let me read some information on the code that was there and go from there and try to figure something out. So I got to call into the customer. I'm waiting to hear from them. But in the meantime, the code, brain fart. The code itself, P0706, it's in regards to the range sensor not being in the right position given the gear selected down at the tranny or whatever. It's like very vague how they list it. And the fact that it put it into a mode where it wouldn't even start is beyond me. But I went through the test, and the test is basically you use a scanner and you can actually look to see what the transmission is seeing, and does the Prindle, the PRND21 Prindle, is it showing the correct gear according to the scanner? And yeah, everything's showing the way it's supposed to be. So basically it passes its test. So I'm wondering if, which it really shouldn't have an effect because that's electronic. So the actual shifter here has nothing to do with that. So either somebody did something stupid, and I've seen it before, and I've showed you guys before, when you get voltage issues, you can get some weird problems with a car. So I'm wondering if battery connection issues, they put an ignition switch in this thing, maybe somebody screwed up with something in there. I'm waiting to hear back from the customer. I want to know what led up to this whole thing. Was this the problem from the get-go? And in this other shop, I know the other shop, and they're not good at anything they do as far as I'm concerned. They're supposedly a muffler shop mostly, and they do other work, and their work is terrible. How people even bring their cars there is beyond me. I've seen their exhaust work. I could do better with a pipe spreader that I have that uses an impact gun and just using pieces of pipe that I get at the parts store. They have tubing benders and everything else. Horrible work. I'd bring nothing to them. I won't mention names though. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to take this column apart here. I want to see exactly what's going on, and hopefully the customer calls me back and I can talk to him and find out what led up to this entire disaster that we're dealing with. Could be something here with this ignition switch. I don't know. You know, if the ignition switch voltage is incorrect because it's actually, partially in the run position, and they tried shifting gears, maybe that's screwed with something. I got a funny feeling it's going to be a voltage related issue. But all right, let me take this apart. Let me see what I can straighten out. I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing, but if I come across something interesting while I'm doing it, I'll point that out. So I dropped the covers off the column. I didn't see anything really out of the ordinary. I had the ignition switch, the cylinder out for a second, and I put it back in. It doesn't feel like it really did much of anything. It really shouldn't, to be totally honest with you, so I'm really not sure what's going on there. But when it's in run, or when you turn it to the crank position, it cranks. When it's in the run position, it's in run. So, not quite sure what's going on there. Sometimes there's like a shaft that comes through that goes all the way to the ignition switch itself that actually breaks on some of these. It's like an extension from where the lock cylinder goes in. I'm going to see how far the guy wants to go, but for right now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything back together. The screws in the covers were just all completely loose. The tilt column screw was almost falling out. I basically touched it and it fell out. So whoever was messing around with this thing obviously had no clue what they were doing. And so I'm still waiting to hear from the customer. So I'm going to put this back together. We're going to go from there. If I don't hear back from them today, that's going to be the end of this video. On this cover here, the screws go through this tower here. Up inside here, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, see that little tunnel there? And basically, see, I kind of glued it back. Not that I glued it, I heated it up and I melted the plastic as best I could and just basically pushed it all together. They basically had ripped the cover off and left the screw holding the upper piece in place. So I'm sitting there trying to put it back together. I'm like, why can't I get this thing to go back together? And I realized what had happened. So, yeah, basically the screw would pass right through the hole. So I did that. So now this should snap up in place and I should be able to get the screws back in it to actually hold this thing back together. And the more I think about it, I really do think it's a voltage related issue. I actually finished this video. I'm making this piece right now and I'm sticking this in between two cuts. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is that positive battery terminal, I'm going to change it. I'm going to put the tin type posts on it, and at least for the positive, just to get rid of this lead style connection. Because like I said, I'm confident it was some type of a voltage related issue that created this whole problem. So let me go ahead and let me take this off and let me get a tin one and put that on. I say tin, but they're actually technically sheet metal. But see this style? Because I'm just concerned. See, I can actually turn that. See that? So I'm just concerned that it could be creating some kind of a voltage drop issue. Who the heck knows? But I'm going to put this style on. So, all right, let me get that off and we'll go from there. Just wanted to show you this when it's off. I mean, that's not a very good surface. That powers up the entire vehicle. So any kind of a little voltage drop could create an issue, especially for electronic pieces. So I'm just waiting for the other terminal end to get here. Once that gets here, oh yeah, look at this too. I just want to show you this. Look how bad somebody over tightened that. Terminals don't have to be that darn tight. As soon as they get tight and they stop turning, stop. You don't have to go any further. That's ridiculous. I mean, come on. Somebody over tightened the absolute bejesus out of that thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of sandpaper. I'm going to clean this up because I'm nowhere near where I can use air or anything like that to help clean this up with a tool. But yeah, I'm going to clean it up with sandpaper, and hopefully the terminal end will be here and we'll put this all together. And there's a new terminal in place. Now, it's tight. It ain't going nowhere. I've seen people where they will tighten this thing up till these two ends meet. There's no need for it. There's no need for it at all. Now, I did have to remount the cable a little bit to make it fit. See if you can see a spark. No, you can't see a spark. Okay. So that'll go on there. But see, I cleaned it up with sandpaper, so now it looks nicey nice. This on. Put this on. And now we're going to tighten that up, and we're going to be done. Like I said, I already finished this video before, but I'm adding this to it because I decided to do this. So you'll see the ending to this after this. If it sounds a little like off whack, like you missed something, it's just because I edited this in. So, all right, well, she starts and runs. There's nothing more I can do right now. All the tests are passing. Have not heard back from the customer, so I got the column back as best as I could. They destroyed it. Even on the other side where the screw goes in to hold it in place, they destroyed it. The tower is actually all messed up. It won't even hold the screw anymore. They put the wrong screw in to hold the tilt lever mechanism. That was the screw. There's different size screws, different types of screws. The screw that goes up through the center of the lower panel screws into the aluminum casing of part of the support part of the bearing for the column. They had screwed that in there, oversized that, so I had to find a different screw for that. Put that screw in the right spot. They had left that screw out, I guess, because they realized that, hey, I put the wrong screw in here and the other screw wouldn't fit, so they just must have thrown that in the garbage. But yeah, what a mess. Anyway, so yeah, so the Prindle, whenever you see the Prindle on a Chrysler product where it's all lit up all across the board, usually it's a communication issue or a code issue that has to do with the Prindle. I'm actually surprised it didn't start. It's kind of weird. I've actually never seen that before with a Chrysler, unless it just didn't know it was in park. But I mean, we tried shifting and neutral and everything else, it just wouldn't do anything. So, but just clearing out the codes, I don't know. So, all right, we're gonna leave it at this. All right, if you got something out of that video, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.